but I looked into this, and it's the truth, and you can look it up. When a child suffers a traumatic a traumatic experience, they regress. They don't grow until it all comes to them. They set back. I was never a thief growing up. Yeah, we robbed a piece of gum from the supermarket. Yeah. You shoplifted a comic book, something like that. But thieves, that was against everything I fucking believed. And here I was. Walking past houses thinking there was a fucking kilo of coke in there because I saw the old lady with a bag. What the fuck, So I went through all that shit, and yeah.
Did you do like therapy and shit, or had you just did it on your own?
No.
You just worked through it yourself?
I tell you what, man. When you're done with drugs, you're done with drugs. You can go to 18 fucking rehabs.
Yeah.
You gotta hit something that and it's gonna be the weirdest thing that's gonna make you flip. Mm-hmm. The weirdest thing. Something, for me, it was my girlfriend. Now she's my wife. But at the time, she's from Tennessee. She's sweet. I made her smoke hash at the wedding. Beside that, she don't do any of that shit. She doesn't even know my world. But guess what? She accepted it. She knows that's what makes me tick. I didn't want to find her on the floor. I didn't want her to find me on the floor. Mm-hmm. There was a couple of reasons I didn't want to go out with coke. I didn't want her finding me on the floor, and I didn't want people going back to Joe Rogan going, "We told you."
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We told you so.
Right.
With that belief that he had in me, I couldn't. I had all these people that trusted me, and here I am dicking around and shit. So,
and Joe, you just met through the comedy, yeah, like you just
comedy store
in the back,
in the back talking shit.
And all that. And then
told him I want to go to
your
news
mom's
radio.
house
And
all that.
Yeah.
That fucking you just wolfing down a bunch of shrimp. That would be like, who the fuck is this guy?
They were scared of me. They were like, "Who's that guy with the leather jacket?" I'm not. I'm talking about those big fucking
boys.
Dude.
They're over there eating lobster. They're over there eating salads and shit. Get the fuck out of here.
You're in a classy
salad?
Joint when you go.
I'm from New York City. You got salad and a shrimp. What are we doing? We're gonna pick that shrimp and put it in our pocket, take it home for our uncle. We don't give a fuck. When I did SpiderMan 2, I tell people a story all the time. On Fridays, they would have Lobster Tales right by my fucking door. And I would sit there and I would eat like
sold them with the rollerblades.
I would eat like 3 lobster tails, And after a while, there'd be 20 on there, and these fucking Gentiles are eating. We love the tofu salad. I'm like, I'm from fucking Jersey. Salad, lobster. We're going with the fucking lobster. I don't even need butter. I'll eat the shell. We're from Jersey. We'll eat the fucking shell, man.
Was SpiderMan the movie where they had the meeting beforehand where they were like, "Joe, we know you like to have a good time," and you were like, "I thought no one knew."
No. That was a movie called Boilermaker.
Well, okay.
That I did the table read for with the father from The Fighter. He lived in my neighborhood, that crazy fuck Jack. And he said, "You want to do this table read?" I did it, and then a year later they contacted me like, "We got the movie, but it's low budget." I go ahead, and then they go, "Can we come in to go over the script?" And that's when they said that to me.
And you thought you were like keeping it a good secret?
I knew people knew, but I didn't know that it was becoming a problem.
Right.
Yeah.
And I just was like, okay, I'm going to do it, the movie. I'll do the 3 weeks clean, because it was 21-day shoot in a row. No days off. Yeah. So they're like, and it was a room like this, and we're all at an AA meeting. So if you miss, it's not like they shoot the other side of the room. The camera was there. So they're like, you got to show up every day. And at the same time, like, my cat got sick. One of my cats died. And there was another cat in the house that my wife brought up to help him live. Then she was going to put him back in the yard because there was like a 2,000 fucking kittens back there. Yeah. And I didn't like this particular cat that she brought up, Superbad. I named him Superbad in the yard. I'm like, this motherfucker, I'm going to kill this fucking Superbad. Because I had a Siamese already picked out, like a gangster, like with the fucking eyes and shit. And that's who my wife brought up that night. She brought up the cat that I really loved that I was going to bring up. He had anemia and Superbad. Their legs had swollen. They were ready to fucking die. And I kept going to the bathroom to pee and do a bump of coke. And I was watching both of them dying in front of my eyes. And I got on my hands and knees. I pet them, I didn't like Superbad, so I didn't fuck with Superbad. I'm like, die, motherfucker. You could die. And I went to bed, and my wife woke me up in the middle of the night. She goes, DJ died. And I said, just close the door. You know, I was coming down off coke. It was just another miserable fucking night in my world. But something went off, and I go, you know what? This cat's not dying in my house. This Superbad is not dying in my house. And I got up. My wife was doing something in the kitchen. At the time, she was my girlfriend. And I got on my hands and knees, and I go, God, I'm fucking, I know you don't want to hear from me. I know it's been a while. But if you save this motherfucker, I'll never do coke again. And I could feel my Pinocchio nose just growing as I said it. I'm like, I'm like, oh, this is such a bullshit story. But I started petting him, you know, and he was purring. I brought him oatmeal cookies, and he was purring and purring. And something, I go, I just can't do coke. And it was 3 days, 6 days, 7 days. Then I got on that set. And it was 12-hour days. So, honest to God, when I got home at night, I was tired. And some nights I would take a sleeping pill just so I'd have to deal with the anxiety from not doing coke. Because 7:45 every night, no matter what I was doing, 7:45, I would get those cramps in my stomach. And I would black out on the way to the ATM machine. Like I would cut people off.
Yeah.
I wouldn't give a fuck. Until I had that coke in my hand, I was a mess. Once I had that coke in my hand, I didn't do it right away. I put it in my cocaine pocket, and then I did my comedy store.
Like you had it. Like you
As long as I knew I had it, I'm good. And once I do my last set, then I could snort some fucking coke. So when that fucking cat lived, like I stopped doing coke, and I'm like,
so like that was it.
That
like,
was
no
it.
relapses, no
no
nothing?
relapse, nothing.
Wow, that's great.
Like 4 days later, I went and I bought a gram of coke, and I went up to the comedy store because a friend of mine died, and there was a wake for her, like a gathering, not a wake. And I had some incident happen up there, and I got so hot that I gave the coke away. And I just went home, and I'm like, wow, for me to give coke away?
Yeah,
Holy
turned the corner.
fuck.
Joey Diaz did not give coke
No,
away.
like I was at home going, I don't know if I should have gave it away. Maybe I should call him up.
Stupid,
I need
stupid.
this. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it just turned into 30 days. And I'm like, why go back? And then it was 60 days. And it was 90 days. I didn't tell nobody. I didn't tell Rogan. I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell anybody for about 6 months.
Was this when were you doing heroin at the time?
I had done some heroin that summer. Just little lines, no shooting or smoking.
Was that a joke, or did you write it in a dress, or was it a serious letter you sent to 60 Minutes where you're like, hey?
I was that close to writing the 60. That's my show, by the way. I was that close to writing 60 Minutes a letter informing them that I had found the cure on how to get off cocaine. And it was by doing heroin once a week. I go, if you do heroin on Monday morning,
You're good.
you won't touch cocaine all week. Guys,
Dude, I was reading, and I was
Guys.
like, I can't tell if this is a joke because also it makes sense.
Right.
guys, when you're out there, okay? You know, at least I caught it now.
Let me get it out.
I'm a big man who admit it now. Most people would say, well, we won't put that in the book. But I was to that point in my life that I was like, I'm on to something.
I can see the logic because I quit dip. I quit chewing tobacco because I had like 1 month where I was partying hard, and every morning I wake up so hungover, and I was like, my mouth's too dry, I don't want to dip. And after a full month, I was like, I guess I don't want to dip anymore. So the cure to stop drinking dip is to just drink every day, all day. I was reading.
Whatever
it
gets you
works.
there.
I was
Whatever
like,
fucking gets you
Am I
there.
illogical, or does this make a lot of fucking sense?
Whatever gets you there.
Yeah.
You know, whatever gets you there.
Well, I mean, I'm happy it all worked out because now I feel like you've probably done more good for people who are. I think it's important for people to hear advice or stories from someone who it's real. You know what I mean? Like you can go to therapy, you can talk to doctors and specialists and experts, and I'm sure they know their shit and they have good advice, and they might even be telling you the right thing. But when it's coming from someone who it's like, what do you know about this? You know, you didn't live inside of the playground.
No.
You didn't. You know, you didn't go to jail for this and that. You weren't, all that shit. So and then you see, like, you can, because I'm sure the hardest thing for people is, like, I cannot imagine me getting off this drug or getting this job or getting out of this hole and being anything, let alone being now a fucking superstar comedian and a published author and a podcast host, an actor and all this shit. Like, you went from, you did both extremes, brother. Both extremes.
You know, I
of life.
want people to listen. You could tell your son or your daughter not to do this and that. We lose all the time. We're going to lose to the influencers and Snoop Dogg and whatever the fuck else, And you can't blame them. They're young, they're naive, they're stupid. And then they catch on, they catch on, and then you move on. That's what you pray for. You move on. With me, it was like, yeah, I lived in a house where I saw drugs. So I had already a premonition that I'm going to smoke pot. Yeah. That's already established. I don't like booze, right? Even though my mom had a bar, I fucking hate booze.
You don't drink at all?
I hate what people look like when they drink. It drives me fucking crazy. And then Coke, I thought I'd never do. When my first 3 years of smoking pot, nobody knew. I was that much of a Catholic nerd that nobody knew. I had Visine, cologne. I would make sure my mom wasn't going to be around for 10 hours because I did not want to get confronted by her for reefer. And I knew she smoked, but something about it just, I couldn't have my mom know I smoked, and she didn't know. And when she died, she didn't know. I didn't want people. I didn't want to fucking do Coke. The first time I put a line in my nose, I was done.
Yeah.
And it was a week before my mother died. Week before my mother died, we played hooky. We robbed a beer truck. We got a case of the quarts. Because the little beers you could freeze. But quarts, you got to put them in a tub with ice and shit. And we were making like vodka and peppermint schnapps, and we were sprinkling the Coke on top. Again, who does this shit? Stupid people do this shit.
Right? Garnish the rim with a little cocaine.
In 1979, we're already making, and we put them in the freezer like idiots. Like, guys, come on. That does nothing to you. You know what I'm saying? But there we are drinking, and then finally we go, we got to do a line. And I did a line. I think I didn't fucking say anything for a year. Like, I was like, I crossed the fucking personal line.
I think that Artie Lang said that too. The first time he did Heroin, where he was alone in a hotel room, and he went, "This is gonna be a problem."
You cross a personal line. Now you know. Now you're in. Now you're in.